So people are asking me like, why am I doing this and being so loud about my feelings regarding this election? And the reality is I actually was getting ready to start another channel about my weight loss journey because I have lost 60 pounds and I'm still got another 15 or 20 to lose, but I thought it was a good time to start talking about the few years that I've been going through this health journey. And this was just something that I was compelled to do. I felt compelled to do primarily because a couple of things. One is that the first time Trump was elected, I think a lot of people just couldn't believe it. And like now, couldn't believe it. But we didn't. How did this happen? And over the next 3 years, and again, I only speak from my own perspective, so people can have their own personal perspective. So one of the things that my experience was, and like my mom's experience and people around me that are close to me who we've shared our stories, is that it was a very dark time for us not because of anything to do with political parties. This is nothing at all to do with politics. It was, we believe in this level of like energy. So when you put negative things out in the world, you get negative things back. And some people just shut off and shut down. And I get that, but that's also, I can't do that when I run a business. I have to know economically what is happening in our country and in the world because it affects our businesses and my client's business. So I need to be informed. I don't sit and listen to news all day long. I get the information I need and I try to stay away from the talking heads and I try to read a lot of it. But it was just, no matter, you have to be living under a rock to not see this craziness. He didn't do any of the things he said he was going to do, and he mishandled and mismanaged a pandemic. And the opportunity to stand up and do the things that a president should do to bring the country together and unite was, he did the opposite, and we were divided. And I blame most of it on social media, but also it's a president's job to create calm. And he just was, anyway, I don't want to get into that. But again, people want to get their news from social media, and that's fine. But the reality is that affected a lot of people. For me, in a way, it was not necessarily a bad time because I got I got some time to rest. And it did give me an opportunity to reflect and have some extra money from the stimulus. For me personally, it wasn't a bad time. For me personally, it ended up being a good thing, but that doesn't mean it was good for our country. And see, I don't think in terms of me, I think in terms of we. And I'm always able personally to find a way to thrive in any economy. I've proven that time and time again. In 2008, when we were going through a recession, I started the Construction Resource Group along with a couple other business owners, and every single business in that group thrived during the recession. So let me tell you, a downturn in an economy is not necessarily a bad thing for everybody, right? Some people know how to make money in those downturns, but I don't wish for it. I just use the opportunity to figure out how I can hustle and be successful. The reality is that I saw a lot of opportunity, really great opportunity for this country under a Harris administration. I saw investments in the building industry that somebody was talking about that never had talked about before. And the fact that, yes, we do use tariffs, Trump used tariffs, and Biden is using Trump's tariffs. Currently, he didn't stop them, but tariffs are supposed to be used strategically. And by the way, it's the company that is getting the imports from China. They're the ones that end up paying the tariffs, and then they end up passing that on to the consumer. So we're all going to pay more money for goods. Right now, inflation is down at one of the lowest it's been in a long time. The crossings at the border are low. I know people don't want to believe this, but the reality is, you know what? Just because you don't get the information doesn't mean the information isn't readily available, right? Just because you choose not to look at it or believe it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And by the way, nobody ever said getting less information is better for you. Less information is going to make you smarter. Less information makes you know more. No, nobody ever said that anywhere, ever. So even if a person doesn't believe something, to me, I look at all the right-wing stuff, all the conspiracy theories, because I want to know. That keeps me informed. My husband loves to look at pop culture, because that way when kids are talking about this kid, this singer or that singer, he's always in. He always knows what's going on. He's not a big like sports person, but he always knows he keeps his ear to the pavement of what's happening with the young kids. So when he's talking to his nieces or nephews or cousins or anybody who's younger, he knows what they're talking about because that is important to him that he can relate. That's how I feel politically. A lot of people feel that way. We want to understand what's happening on the right, so we listen. To me, if you're on the right, who cares if you think the left is spewing a bunch of fake news? Who gives a shit? Go listen to it. Go hear what they're saying so you know. Because it sounds really stupid when people say, oh, fake news. You don't know because you didn't listen to it. Now, if you listened to it and you confirmed it was fake, then you would sound intelligent. And then you would be able to educate us all. But the fact that people just spew that garbage is ridiculous and it's just ignorant. So that's what's so frustrating. But the point is that I was very much looking to an opportunity economy, and I bought into that. I thought that even if we didn't get everything we wanted, I liked that plan. It sounded exciting to me. It addressed things like really fixing the border and creating a pathway to citizenship, which makes sense to me. My father's Mexican, my mother's Lebanese. That to me sounds like an opportunity for coming from a family that's rich, steeped in culture. I like that. I think that's great. I understand that this country was built on the backs of immigrants who worked hard so their children could have a better life. And to me, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. I want a president who understands that climate change is real. And the fact of the matter is, if people who don't believe climate change is real because they listen to people who spew a bunch of garbage, let me just say, who benefits if you don't believe that climate change is real? Does the earth benefit? Do you benefit? Or does the coal companies and the companies that are polluting? And personally, I just think of it like a human being smoking a cigarette, right? You put smoke into your lungs, we already know that's going to cause cancer or could cause cancer. It's definitely not going to make you a healthy person. The same exact thing is you put smoke and toxins into the world, it's not going to make the world a better, healthier place. So whether or not you believe that affects climate change, not even really the issue. The issue is we live in this world. God gave us this world. We should be taking care of it and making it healthy and beautiful for our children and grandchildren, for my nieces and nephews and my cousins and the young people. And just because I want to leave the world a better place, because I think of things like that. And I never think about, oh my God, my eggs went up like 50 cents. I understand people if they're struggling, but that not in the scheme of things, from an economical standpoint, what is important. And the fact of the matter is, and I don't know if this is true because I have not confirmed it, and I don't get my news on social media, but people have been saying, and there have been some reports of that business owners, corporations are using these tariffs to, whether Trump or the Trump administration enacts them or not, which I doubt they're going to do all that, but whether they do or not, words have consequences. So you just say, I'm going to tariff everybody, anything coming in and out of China, I'm going to tariff. Guess what? Are already using that as an excuse. And I could see this being true because they are corporations. And I think we can agree that sometimes they're greedy. It's being said that corporations are already using that to not pay Christmas bonuses. They also probably will use it as an excuse to lay off a ton of people. They'll use it as an excuse to move their factories to another country. I think I did see this in the news that Steve Madden is moving out of China and into Bangladesh or India or Vietnam or something like that. So that's something I didn't have a chance to read. So again, do your own research through legitimate sources that are regulated by the FCC and not just on social media. But the reality is that this is not really going to be bad for me personally. For Michael and I, we've gone through a couple of down economies and we're scrappers, we're survivors. We know how to figure things out and work hard. And I set my business up to be like recession proof. That's number one, but it is going to be bad for so many people. And for me, some of those people are people I love. Some of those people, I love them and they voted for Trump. And so people ask me, why did I do this? Because I want to be clear about where I see the country going under some of these possible implementations of policies that were in Project 2025. I already see some of these happening in my life today. And They could affect me if I let them, but I'll just bomb and weave. But at the end of the day, I hope I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, if we have a huge economic upturn and Trump is an incredible president and he brings people together and things are just awesome in our country and we have good relations with other countries and we're prosperous and all those things that I think we could get under a different presidency, even a different Republican president, I think we could get, then will do the biggest I'm sorry dance to whomever asks. I swear to God, after 4 years, I want to see that. But I think we already saw how that turned out 4 years ago, or the first 4 years. So I'm not optimistic. But the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have a community. I want like-minded people, because last time a lot of us just went down, especially with COVID. I was just starting to come out of that COVID coma. I was starting to feel good. I was starting to feel happy and like energized and getting my creativity back. It affected a lot of people really poorly. And during COVID, we strategically ended relationships with people because we just were like, first of all, a lot of times they were just drinking friends. But I want to just, at my age, at where I am in my life, I want to have more deep, meaningful, impactful relationships. I just really like hanging out by myself and my husband. I just like it. I just enjoy my own company. Maybe I'm weird, but I think I'm a pretty interesting person to hang out with. And I do a lot of really fun things. So I don't need to have a lot of people around me. I'm just different like that. But I also understand like Michael does need some camaraderie, and he's not even though he feels the same way about a lot of things, he would never do anything like I'm doing, right? He would hang out with anybody. And I just am not that way. I don't want to tippy toe about what I say. There's been too many times where I stepped in it and somebody else stepped in it. And I'm not a person who can keep my mouth shut when I hear somebody spew lies that are being regurgitated from right-wing conservative media that I listen to, and I know it's being regurgitated verbatim. So I want to create a community. That's why I'm doing this. I am not going to be posting after this week on my Facebook page. I'm going to start moving that towards my healthy website, which is veganish, a healthy-ish lifestyle. And so I'm going to start doing that. People can engage with that. People are, I think we're going to need that more than ever, is like a healthy mentality. And that's where I am. And all those years of trying to get healthy and working towards a healthy mind and body has prepared me for another 4 years of Trump. But I have a right to be angry for the first week or two. And that's why I'm putting all of this stuff out on my social media. I'm going to wind that down and keep everything into segregated kind of compartments, a page for this and a page for that. So my hope is that if you are like-minded, if you want to have a good dialogue, if you want to talk about how we can help each other out through the next 4 years, professionally, personally, spiritually, whatever, if you want to have critical thinking conversations, if you want to find ways to have conversations with people who are Trump supporters and try to figure out a way back into that life with them, then join me on Political Critical Thinking. And I'll be doing videos, so that'll be something that I'll be updating as well. But I'm going to get this Facebook page back to normal stuff about health and lifestyle and things like that. So that's why I'm doing the videos. That's because I want people to know, even though they think that they know, they don't really know. They don't really know where I stand. Because we never talk about it. So I want people to know where I stand. I want to know where you stand. And I want to be able to create a community and not go through what I went through and what a lot of us went through first 4 years of Trump and then during COVID. And this time we need support. We're going to need support. And we're going to need to figure out ways that if we're right and he does the things that he says he's going to do, it could affect a lot of people on an economic scale. So we have to figure out a way how to help each other through that. And I have great ideas for that because I did it in 2008 and I can do it again. So, all right. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.